I've been trying to not start making these videos on the channel. I know a lot of you guys make a very political, very very right-wing or left-wing motivated videos. And I've been trying to avoid doing that myself for a lot of reasons. But I think instead of making a political video, I'm going to blow your mind about Donald Trump. I'm going to tell you guys all the real truth. The real truth about Donald Trump. What his real secret plan is. Now, I want you all to know, I'm going to preface this whole truth saying, because I am a fortune teller, and I've made a lot of these predictions in the past that have come true. This is a very well-educated one. I'm Canadian. So my opinions are that of a Canadian, and the perspectives I see are very different than what you guys see in America. People like Bernie Sanders, for example, we see much more in the media here in Canada than you guys would believe, whereas very many people in the US haven't heard anything about him. Now that's just the powers to be at work, and that's just one of the many candidates that this problem goes on with. But Donald Trump, let's talk about Donald Trump. So Donald Trump is a billionaire. And a lot of the people who are voting for Donald Trump are some of the poorest people. Now, people are afraid of taxes, and taxes is always thought to be a negative thing. But when it comes to Donald Trump, do you think he has any expectation of putting more taxes on the wealthiest people? So where 1% of the population, less than 1% of the population, maintains 66% of the world's economy? You know there's something wrong with the elitists, with the corporations, with these... When executives and CEOs are being paid 500, 600, 700 times, 1,000 times more than their employees, there's something incredibly wrong with that. It's wrong. So, being that he's a bajillionaire, you think he's going to make it any harder for the rich people? So that's the lifestyle he lives. He doesn't get on a transit bus. He takes his private helicopter everywhere. So do you think he's really in touch with the issues of people at large? Now, Donald Trump has investment firms and hotel chains and all sorts of things. He's the bankrupt master. He's bankrupted his company several times. He's written books about bankruptcy, about how to use it to your advantage. Do you really think that Donald Trump is functional at bringing people out of debt if his solution has always been claim bankruptcy? Fortunately, that's not something you can do with a country's deficit. It doesn't work that way. So the powers that be are putting Donald Trump on in front of the television because of a synergetic relationship he has with the media. Now, the one thing that Donald Trump is actually going to do, here's my fortune telling for you guys, okay? Donald Trump has no interest in being the president. And not only does he have no interest in being the president, he's actually going to drop out of the race before the vote. 2-3 weeks beforehand. He's going to drop out. And here's how it's going to go. And it's already started. It's already started. But I talked about this on Humana Story, and I talked about this on some other channels, and I talked about this as early as about 7 months ago, 8 months ago. He's going to find someone in the conservative... So is Donald Trump a conservative? Well, when it comes to business, he's always had to keep the conservatives in mind. But in fact, when it comes to his outward opinions and his, I guess, what you would call style, he's certainly not a conservative. Do conservatives generally have TV shows and things of that nature? Like, he's a very different mentality at large. But the swing, the conservative swing is changing. Here in Canada, the conservative government, the Democratic government, took over. The conservative government is out. The right-wingers are gone. And that happened very quickly, and it was unexpected to them. They thought it wasn't going to happen. And it's going to happen in the U.S. as well, where a lot of the majority in some of the smaller cities and regions are going to change very quickly. It's going to take a lot of people by storm. And he sees that. He's a businessman. He's banking on this. So he wants to be friends with the people that are going to be in power. Being the president is a lot of work. He'll make more money not being the president than he ever would as the president. Really. He's even said that out loud. I'd make more money not being the president. So he's had these thoughts to himself. He said them out loud at media conferences. So he's going to pick a fight with a conservative. And he's going to get in their face, the right-winger. And he's going to have a heads-up, a bunch of just fighting. And disagreeing with them, and nah, boo-boo, you suck, and all this trash talk. And he's going to do it for sensationalism. Donald Trump's value from all of this, the reason he hasn't been taking money from big business, the reason he's funding this himself, is because it's not actually a presidential campaign. What he's basically doing is a marketing campaign. Donald Trump's face has a value. And after this year and a half of shenanigans, the cost of his seminars and the cost of his DVDs, the sales of his book, the airtime he gets on television, all these things simply go up. And no amount of millions of dollars is worth the amount of FaceTime he's been getting this year in the U.S. It's unequivocal. It's unfathomable. You could buy every ad space in YouTube and still not have as much press as he has. Here we are talking about him right now. Do you see? And we're just, every time we say his name, his face value goes up just a little bit more. A couple more pennies. Every time we say Donald Trump, he's worth a little more money. And people don't realize that, but that's the truth. That's how it really is. That's how it works in his world. So when he walks in the room, he commands more attention. So he's going to get in a fight with a conservative. And he's going to say, fuck the conservatives, fuck politics, I'm sick of this, it's not worth my time, it's better for me to go back to the industry and create more jobs, and create more incentive programs, and to hire more employees, and to create more opportunities. I'll be too limited by the political battling. I'm better to do it on my own, like I made my $1 billion. And people will go, yeah, that makes sense. He's gonna make jobs, and he's gonna back someone. Okay, now here's where the real Donald Trump ego comes into play. He's gonna back someone in the Democrat Party, and he's gonna and forever, for the next 10 years, he's gonna say to himself and to every interview, he's gonna say out loud, the reason they won was because of me. Yeah. The reason Bernie won, it's me. The reason Hillary won, it was me. Yeah. And he's going to believe that because he dropped out and passed the torch to someone, that if that person was elected, he's going to pass the torch to whoever is the most likely to win. That's just going to help his marketing campaign. Let's be serious. So let's just say, from my opinion, and from the schools and the computer simulations that generally get it at 98% right, the suggestion is Bernie Sanders is going to win, and that's empirical evidence, and you just find all the university computer predictions and see what they say, and they're generally correct every year. So let's just say that the leading predicting programs are correct. Let's say that Bernie Sanders is going to win, and that scares everybody, and that's why they've been giving him no time on television in order to fight this. If he does win, or before he wins, Donald Trump's going to say, hey Bernie, I'm your man. And all my Donald Trump supporters, all you right-winged, yeah, America, if you love America, you love me. You're going to vote for my boy Bernie here. And Bernie's going to take it. He's going to put his arm around Donald Trump and he's going to say, oh, thanks, buddy. It's so nice to have you here, Donald. You got such an interesting audience there. So many people are captivated by your opinions, and it's just, it really lets me know that we're on the right path. We're speaking to true Americans, and we need to make the changes. And the forces will rally 2 weeks before the election, and everything Donald Trump will go Bernie Sanders, and that'll blow up in everyone's face because they've all been given to Donald Trump FaceTime. And that's it's a synergetic relationship. The reason the news crews give Donald Trump so much FaceTime is because he says sensational things, and sensationalism is what makes the news interesting. It's what makes interesting headlines. Build a wall, evict the refugees, kick out immigrants. These titles, these are what people click on and people buy in the newsstands, and they know this. So he goes on to TV and he is specifically provocative, intentionally hoping to not increase his, because now he's being banned from countries. He's being banned from countries like around Europe and around the world. They're banning him because of bigotry and racist remarks, hate speech. He's being banned from countries. Do you think that really is the best approach at a presidential campaign? Do you know who else gets banned from countries? Warlords and dictators and people like that. Even with Russia and all these countries that were invading other countries, and they're going to ban Donald Trump. So in a sense, these countries look at them as worse than some of these other world leaders. So think about that for a second. Is that really the best approach to gaining public favor and world favor by racist bigotry remarks? I don't think so. I don't think so. He's saying the most sensational things. The news is then promoting those sensational things because they're sensational, and then giving him FaceTime as a reward. And then as a favor for the reward, he's giving them more sensational stuff. And every time they say his name, his dollar value goes up. So you've heard it here first. See my research unit right here? We don't mess around. I have empirical evidence of everything I'm speaking to. So, to recap, Donald Trump doesn't care about being president. He's going to get in a pretend fight with a conservative, again, for more FaceTime. He's going to say some really, really more irrational shit, and exceedingly more irrational as it become closer to the election. Like, he's going crazy irrational, but it's just because he's whoring. Media whoring. And then he's going to back someone probably in the Democratic Party. And he's going to really believe in his mind that because they won, it was his doing. And that's what he's going to tell people. And that person will be happy to have an alien audience come to support them at the last minute with such a large television audience. So, and it's going to blow up in everyone's face, and it'll be an interesting election. 'Cause it's not what the corporations are expecting. So, there it is. Bernie, 2016.